football.
Yeah, that's the solace, is it's football, but I feel like summer's just slipping away.
Okay, but talking about football isn't going to make the clock slow down, so let's talk about football. You want to talk about football?
Now let's talk about football.
All right. Michigan and Michigan State both in practice this week.
We're live on Facebook right now.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, so hello, Facebook. So if you want to follow the 97.1 The Ticket Facebook page, you can follow along with us.
What story will be the biggest to follow leading up to the season openers for the Wolverines and the Spartans? What do you think it's going to be?
Well, for Michigan, it's obviously the quarterback situation. When Jim Harbaugh came out last week and said that Wilton Spate's in a good position because he's tied for first with the other two quarterbacks, I think they're going to keep that thing close to the vest of who's going to be the quarterback. For Michigan State, it's just, can his team improve on what they did last year? Are they going to continue to take a step back, or are they going to take a step forward?
I was about to say improve on what they did last year. Last year they went 3-9.
Exactly. But then they had all this attrition in the offseason. In addition to having a bad year they did last year, they've lost all these players for various reasons. Can they get better? Did they hit rock bottom? Was rock bottom in April? Because I sure as hell hope that was rock bottom.
Yeah, it's tough to see them losing all they lost and yet getting better, but there's something to be said for team chemistry. There's something to be said for, I got to tell you, something called try hard. When there's questions about whether or not your best players are trying as hard as they can be. I thought it was the players get brought up all the time. Malik McDowell, and the one thing I found disturbing was when you have a freshman receiver complaining on the field with gestures where he didn't look happy. Can there have better leadership, more harmony to get more out of him from wins and losses? For Michigan, of course it's going to be quarterback, and it shouldn't be. Like, I find the fascination with the quarterback situation under Jim Harbaugh to be odd. I don't know if there's anybody more qualified than Jim Harbaugh when it comes to coaching quarterbacks in college. I mean, I'm sure there are, but that's like his strength, okay? His strength as a head coach is the quarterback position. He takes a cast-off from Iowa and turns him into a pretty decent Big Ten quarterback. He takes a guy that Michigan fans didn't even
Rudock was okay at Iowa, but I mean,
he lost his job. And Iowa people were shocked. When I talked to Iowa people, they were shocked with what he did with Rudock.
He got better as the season went on at Michigan, there's no question.
He took a player that Michigan fans had discarded as never going to play in Wilton Spate and had a pretty good year with him last year. If he goes with Wilton Spate, it's because Wilton Spate's their best quarterback. If he goes with Brandon Peters, it's because Brandon Peters is their best quarterback. Here's what they have. And it could be O'Corn, it could be McCaffrey. I don't expect it to be either of those two, but here's what they have. They have legitimate competition with two solid candidates and maybe a fringe third candidate that will push each other to get the most out of that position. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So while people can focus on that, I think the real story is the offensive line. I mean, if I look at Michigan the last 5-6 years, it has been a consistent disappointment up front offensively. That they haven't been able. They had some players here and there, and some players that we knew would be NFL players like Taylor Lewan, and others we didn't, like Michael Schofield. And then we've had some 5-stars who never really seemed to live up to the billing, like Kyle Kalis. We've had some 4-stars. I mean, Magnuson was okay. But you know what they need? They need that group to solidify in a hurry, because they got to replace a bunch of guys, and it's like just about everything at Michigan. Yes, they lost 3 starters, but there are, again, who knows, but very talented young players ready to step in, like Michael Onwenu. I still can't discount Chuck Filiaga, the freshman coming in. Are those guys going to solidify that group and make it better?
Well, who's the team to beat in the Big Ten this year?
Ohio State.
Okay. Can a team in the Big Ten win the Big Ten with 2 losses?
Yes. Why?
Because I'm just trying to think about this, because I think when you start talking about aspirations for Michigan and Michigan State this season, obviously they're going to be different because of where the programs are right now. But are Michigan fans already falling into this trap that they expect to be competing.
This should be a step back for
Michigan. It should be, because they've lost a lot. Now, they've also had plenty of guys that had experience from last year that weren't starters but got lots of experience and are now going to be thrust into starting roles. But, what's the realistic expectation for what these teams can be?
I think Michigan's team last year was like a 10-2, 11-1 team masquerading as a 9-3 team. And I think this team is like a 7-5 team that also will masquerade as a 9-3 team. I think they're going to lose a couple games early, like a Florida, and then one other stinker in there because they are so young and the learning curve is steep, and get better as the year goes on. But I don't think this is I thought Harbaugh's first team would be his worst at Michigan. I think this team probably, they'll never say that, but I think this team probably will be, because moving forward from here, everything out, I expect to be pretty good.
Well, Glenn says this on our Facebook page. With his experience, there's no way Spate doesn't start this season for the Wolverines. It's kind of the way I feel about that, but I'm on the outside, not being the Michigan guy. I would have a hard time thinking that one of these other guys is going to win the job based off of what happened in the spring and what's going to happen here in the summer workouts, because I think Spate would be in front.
I would suspect that Spate will get the start. Do I suspect Peters will play? Yep. I don't think it's going to be a Henson-Brady thing, but I think he'll play. At Michigan State, it's Lewerke, right? It's
Lewerke. It's Lewerke, and he's athletic. He can make plays with his feet, and he's shown a lot of toughness. I like Lewerke. They bring back their best offensive lineman, which is going to help them out. And they've got experience at the running back position with L.J. Scott and Madre London and others. They've got some experience there. The inexperience comes with the receivers, and that's part of the attrition from last year. But if you watch the spring game, you saw a couple guys emerge. Tristan Jackson was one of them that you really like. But I just don't know what to expect from Michigan State. I hope for the best. I don't expect the worst. I expect them to be a team that's going to be right around 500 this year. And I hope that they're better than that, but I just don't know.
Here's the thing about that. Defensively, the front seven, for me, is the question.
It's a big question.
With everything that they have lost, whether it be to graduation or attrition, that's where I think Spartan fans' focus should be. Who's going to emerge there? Who's going to make plays on the front seven defensively? Because last year, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they have the fewest sacks in the Big Ten?
Sounds about right.
And
put a whole lot of pressure on the quarterback, and they don't really return pass rushers because of the attrition.
And losing Malik McDowell, losing King. There was some talent there coming back. The high ceiling for Austin Robertson, and I don't know where the pass rush is going to come from.
I don't know either. They've got talent in the secondary. That's where Michigan State, I think, has talent, and a lot of young talent there. So we'll see if they can put some added pressure on there. Some guys had good springs that showed up at linebacker that you weren't expecting. Wow, that kind of came out of nowhere. But it's a long process. Again, I think this team is going to be around 500 for Michigan State, and I think Michigan is probably 8-4, 9-3 territory.
248-539-9797. Kurt in Clinton Township. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
All right.
Look, I think there's this one major factor that a lot of people are discounting when it comes to this team, especially on defense. The first time that they're going to have the same coordinator 2 years in a row. I played college ball, and I'm telling you, being in a system, that first year, it's real hard. You're thinking instead of reacting and moving. A year in, now every one of these guys, even though they're younger, they're more athletic. They're going to be moving real fast because they're going to know where their roles are, where their responsibilities are. Let them play faster. I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. That's all.
You're talking about Don Brown and Michigan's defense.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I thought so. Yeah, Don Brown is a lot of respect for him as a coordinator. And that does help. The experience that they lost in playing time and snaps, they do have with guys coming back. That helps. Does it make up for everything they lost? Well, we'll see. Their defensive line, their first four, really good. But they like to rotate guys through. Greg Madison has done it for years. He thinks of it as 8 starters. They need to find some guys.
A couple people have noticed this on Facebook when we watched this Facebook Live. John says, salmon is the color of the day, guys? James says, are you guys both wearing pink? Andrew says, it's salmon.
Kang, what color is this shirt, this T-shirt?
Looks like a really faded. It used to be red, it looks like.
I think yours is salmon. Mine is...
Salmon.
Yeah, I think it's salmon. Mine is like red and white, but combined kind of looks pinkish.
It looks like pinkish peach. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pinkish, but I can live with that. I'm okay with it. And then Kelly says, "Oh my God, Gator is so cute." Thanks, babe.
Kelly Stafford. Whoa.
All right, as a fan, would you take this outcome? I think somebody's going to say yes, and I think they're crazy. We will get to that today at 118. 97.1 The Ticket.